Alright, so as you kids can tell, I'm trying out different angles. I'm trying to figure out what looks best. How do I talk to you guys? I might wind up doing it at some point in the little loft area that we've made, just to kind of have something a little bit different. Hopefully this thing is recording. I tested out the mic a couple times. Looks like it's working, so hopefully the sound isn't too bad for you guys. So what is it? Today is October 8th. I wanted to try to put out a video. It's Sunday again. Just been a kind of lazy / busy weekend. Didn't really want to do too much. And it was late, and I said I gotta try to stay consistent with this because I really do think that, or hope, that future generations, both obviously my kids, my grandkids, great-grandkids, will find value maybe in what their crazy great-grandfather or grandfather or dad, great-grandfather or whatever, however long this video ends up making it, what he used to have to say. Because again, I know I've mentioned this before, but in talking with my grandmother, like, it even comes back to me pretty often where I think to myself, how cool would it have been to even know what my great-grandfather sounded like, right? Like, that technology wasn't around. So it's not something that would have been easy to do back then, to try to record his voice or anything. But it would have been so cool to even just know what he looked like, right? Or know his thoughts. What did he think? I mean, I found out my great-great-great-grandfather was French. So you guys got some French in you. But I got a couple updates this week, a couple things, a couple lessons, so to speak, that I want to try to reach out to you guys on. So one of them is the importance of health. And hopefully all of you guys are healthy. But for me, it was just a random lesson this week. So this one was really weird. I went to buy a lamp for Jess, your mom, for Reagan and Linden, for Nick, your stepmom, Charlie, obviously, your stepmom. But I went to go buy a lamp for Jess up on OfferUp, and I met up with this one random dude. He was about my age. I think he was 44. I'm 43 right now. He was about my age, and he told me how his health just randomly deteriorated. Totally healthy guy, nothing wrong with him, everything was going fine. And then all of a sudden his health just went bad. He doesn't know why. He just went from like being 175 pounds going down to like 105. And he showed me pictures. And it was such a random conversation. But it reminded me so much of how fragile, I guess, the human body really is. And how quickly it deteriorates. So it made me realize how important it is to keep your health and rest when you can, when your body tells you to rest. Remember this as you age. You're probably young now. You're thinking, I'm immortal. I used to think the same thing. And then somewhere along the line, I hit 40 years old, and your body just changes. I used to laugh at my friends that were older than me and say that. But, man, your body just changes when you hit 40. And I don't even know what 50 is going to feel like. But time goes by fast. Take care of your health and enjoy the time you have remaining with people around you. So that was one update that I have, or one lesson that I wanted to try to teach you guys. I've been trying to formalize a lot more of my thoughts, so trying to revolve it around individual kids. But one conversation I had this week was with Reagan. Reagan, this week you jumped off the bed towards your mom, but you didn't tell her, and we thought you broke your foot. So your mom rushed you, like I examined you in the dad way, just to see if it was broken. It didn't look like it was broken, but your mom wanted to take you to the doctor anyway. You were limping all day the following day on Wednesday. So this happened on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday you were just limping the whole day. Now it's Sunday and you're totally fine. Like, it hurts a little bit if you touch it. My guess is you sprained something, probably pulled something, maybe a ligament, something in there, but you're young. You'll bounce back quick. Hopefully this doesn't affect you into the future. But you probably just bruised your foot. London, you don't listen when we call you. I think I mentioned this in another video, but you're my wild child right now. I mean, Nick was a bit of a wild kid, but you are much wilder than Nick. You just don't listen. So you were trying to put your fingers inside of like a light socket or something that was going to hurt you, potentially hurt you. I knew it wasn't going to hurt you. I was right next to you, and you just didn't listen. So I slapped your fingers, and you just kind of looked at me, and then you kind of just went to do it again. So I slapped it again, and you just turned to me. You just started crying because I guess you were shocked that I would even do that to you. Definitely not my style to try to spank you guys. Nick, I've probably spanked you maybe 3 times, 4 maybe. Charlie, maybe once on the hand. I think I slapped you once on the hand. Reagan, I think I probably slapped you upside the head once. Yep, definitely slapped you upside the head once. But it wasn't like hard. It was just like, what are you doing? It's one of those. It's a dad thing. It's a thing. So I did that. But yeah, London, you started crying. And it worked though, because now when I tell you don't do something for the rest of the week, you listened. You're like, oh, okay, cool. Dad said don't do it. So there's a lesson for you guys there. If any sort of bullshit, new age, don't spank your kid nonsense, I get it. Don't beat the shit out of your kid. I used to get the shit beat out of me. But there's nothing wrong with a quick spank. Sometimes I don't have time to have a conversation with you and help you understand physics on why a moving vehicle could potentially harm you. No. When I call you, you fucking come. That's it. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's pretty simple. Cool thing that I did, and one thing that I'm gonna try to incorporate, is I sat around and talked to Jess for a while, which was really nice. We have this cool little loungy area in this room that we made. We got Jess's parents' furniture, their furniture that was upstairs in their loft. We just kind of turned it into a sitting area. We haven't been watching TV much. We kind of just sit there, we talk for a little while, you know, we plan out our week, talk about our day, talk about things that are frustrating us. And it's nice. It's nice to have a conversation. It's really nice. Let me see, lessons to teach you. Here's another lesson. Reagan's injury happened on the same day that I felt an old heel injury. Super silly story. So there was this pool on the other side of the river from where I lived, but the bridge was falling apart for years, which caused the city to try and keep people off of it. It's just a pedestrian bridge to this pool. So I lived on 170th Street and University in the Bronx. So that area is still there. It's an area called High Bridge. The reason it's called High Bridge is because there was a bridge that in the 70s connected, just a pedestrian bridge, connected the Bronx section to the Washington Heights section. And there was a big park on the other side. And people would go over to the other side and go to the pool, right? So there's 2 ways to get to this pool. One way was you have to walk up to the main road, main highway, not main highway. It's a main bridge that crosses over to Washington Heights. But there's another bridge that it recently opened. I just saw that it recently opened after we moved, of course. The area got gentrified a little bit. So because it got gentrified, now you have an area where people actually walk across the bridge. They rebuilt the bridge. But when I was a kid, it was a decrepit bridge. I guess in the 70s, people used to throw bottles off the side or something, and it caused the city to shut it down, and they didn't want to fix it. So they basically just put up a fence around it and made it really hard to get around. Well, people find a way to get around fences at times. So this was one of those situations. So we don't want to, me and my friends, it was Pavel, Jose, Anthony, and a couple other friends, we didn't want to go up to this bridge and then go across, because then you got to come back down. It's a really long hike. It's like an hour if you walk it, more even. But if you go across this bridge to this pool, it was summer. If you go across this bridge to this pool, you're there in like 10 minutes, right? Because you just cross the bridge across the street from my house, go into the little park, cross the bridge. When you cross the bridge, you go up some steps and you're up in the pool. Really simple. But you have to kind of work your way through it. So my friends and I wanted to take the faster way. I live across the street from it, and the bridge sucks. On this day, my mom happens to see me coming, or sees my friends coming. I happen to jump over across the street and kind of hide from them. But my mom saw them go into like the park. And I was like, fuck, mom saw me. So I jumped down really, really quickly. There's like an area where on this fence, you have to like climb underneath almost the bridge and then climb back up. It sounds scarier than it actually is. I was an adventurous kid. But you climb under the bridge, or this portion of the bridge, and then you climb back up on the other side. When you climb back up on the other side, there's a fence, and you can't see through the fence, right? It's like a black metal fence. So my mom's up at the top of this park, screaming and yelling, like, is Cherokee there? Is Cherokee ahí? Cherokee ahí? And the guys are like, nah, he's not here. So they start walking across the bridge. As they're walking across the bridge, I yell at them. It's like, yo, is my mom there? Like, nah, she's not there. Come on. I book it. I run across the bridge as fast as I can. Mind you, there was areas that had like holes and stuff. So run across the bridge as fast as you can. When you get to the other side, you have to climb up with this rope. So I got really, really nervous that my mom was going to see me. My mom had really bad eyesight, so there's no way she could fucking see me across this bridge. But for some reason, when you're a kid, you just have something stuck in your mind that somehow your mom's going to see you and you're going to be in trouble and it's the end of the world. The reality is it isn't. Either way, for me doing this and rushing across the bridge, I hopped up over this fence, and on the other side you have to hang and let go. Where I didn't hang and let go, I just hopped over to the side and I let go. Where I landed wrong, I landed flat right on my back heel, and it hurt like hell. Basically, the moral of this story is, all this is to say that I was so worried about my mom catching me doing something that I hurt myself trying to rush an outcome. Those little things, don't stress about them. That your mom catches you, it's not the end of the world. The consequences of them could have long-lasting effects. So think of the things that you do. Try not to do something that's going to be rash. Careful with the consequences, but don't try to rush through something fearing something, because it could be worse, right? Like, this ended up being far worse, the fact that I hopped over the bridge and like it messed up my week, like a month. Like, it just hurt, like my heel hurt, and the injury just suddenly re-popped up again just this week. I was in the kitchen and it just hurt, and it made me realize, seeing Reagan hurt, that a small little injury like that can have longer lasting effects. I mean, shit, I was 14 maybe when this happened, 15, 16 maybe. So that's 30 years ago almost. So yeah, just don't put so much pressure on yourself to try to rush through things. The smaller the things are, you'd be surprised how little impact they actually have in the long run. Or in this case, by rushing through it, I actually caused a longer impact than necessary, because here I am 30 years later still having the same random problem on my foot. Then on Thursday, I kind of just wanted to write a little bit. So if you guys ever find the journal, it's on my day one. You're more than happy to look at it, but didn't yet. So there's this job that I was going for, so I was really bummed out on Thursday. I was interviewing for this one job that I really, really wanted, but I didn't get it, right? Didn't get the job. The interview didn't go, I guess, as well as I thought. And your mom, your mom's being supportive. Said, you know what, just things happen for a reason. Maybe this just wasn't the job that you were supposed to get. Totally get it. But I was still bummed out, because I really thought I had this one nailed. It seemed like it was right up my alley. So it was a little discouraging. Not that I don't have a job now. We make great money, but it would have been nice to have this one kind of move on into my career. Another little story. Reagan, you loved playing on this iPad. You played Khan Academy, so I don't know if this is something that you'll remember, or your kids will have in the future, but this little app called Khan Academy. You come downstairs after we watch a little bit of TV, you have your applesauce and banana. You in London has banana and applesauce. You have applesauce and banana. You'll come downstairs, and when you come downstairs, we'll do playtime. And you'll just do schoolwork on this Khan Academy app, and you absolutely love it. And then Jess was talking this week about constantly being tired, just feeling drained. It might be hormones and stuff, woman stuff, so stay away from that one. But you know, your mom's been through a lot. Her mom's body has been owned basically by London, Ryan, and Reagan for the last almost 4 years. So I get it. Her body needs time to recover. So like I said, woman stuff, and that's something that men can understand by no means. What else did I put down? Getting the job would have been great. I'm not sure what could have went wrong. My guess is that they had an internal candidate. Just kind of a quick little update on stuff there. And then kind of some end of the week recap stuff that I went through. So two big things actually happened this weekend. I don't know if this has longer lasting impacts on what the world looks like when you're finally watching this video. But Nick, I spoke with you on Friday. You called me randomly at work. I was at the office, and you told me that you were going to get deployed overseas. So you're looking at a deployment soon, which is crazy. So you don't know where you're going. You don't know if you're going to Poland. You don't know if you're going to Japan. You don't know where you're going. But then it's really weird that after you told me that, because your commanding officer said that, you know, you're looking to get deployed next year, war breaks out in Israel against the Gaza Strip, and it was just absolutely brutal. 700 people plus have died on the Israeli side. Retaliation started on the other side, so Israel has been attacking on the other side now. Of course, there's never a known way to know when this is going to actually end. This conflict has been going on for ages. But it was really strange to see so many people react in celebration to children, babies, elderly, women being killed, raped, murdered. It's very disturbing. So I hope that's not a world that you guys live in. I wish I could prevent it some way. I don't know how. And, you know, obviously we're just living in the U.S., but that has its own issues as well. Hopefully, you know, still going well here. But Reagan, here's one outside from the war that just started. So I had that conversation with Nick, which was really interesting, and then continued the conversation on Sunday, just telling him, be prepared, man. That's something that I'll talk about in another lesson later, about being prepared. Preparation is important. But Reagan, you're a huge procrastinator for bedtime. I know, weird non sequitur, went from war to talking about Reagan. I didn't want to go too far down that war path. Reagan, you're such a procrastinator. You hate cutting your nails. But on Saturday, you came all the way downstairs for me to cut your nails, your fingernails, which is really weird. Then you refused to go upstairs, so I raised my voice, which is pretty rare these days. And then you cry because I raised my voice and I caved. I scooped you up at the stairs and I carried you to bed. I caved. What can I say? So here's the final thing that I have for this week. This video is probably going to be a little bit longer than the last ones, but it doesn't matter. So I want to start this lesson with a question. If quarters are still a thing, because I don't know if quarters are still a thing, obviously. You know, we could be going to all digital currency here soon, even in the US. Is there a difference between 100 pennies and 4 quarters? I'll give you some time to think about that. Is there a difference between 100 pennies and 4 quarters? If your answer was yes, why? And think about it. If you said it's the same, then why? And think about it. You can pause the video or whatever. The correct answer is that they are not the same. Why? Take 4 quarters and put them in your right hand. and take 100 pennies and put them in your left hand. Are they different now? The 100 pennies will weigh more. And the lesson here is, sometimes as we grow, both spiritually or fiscally, we hold on to things that are worth the value, but not the weight. This goes with people particularly. This is especially true even in business. If you're a manager or you own a business, you'll notice that as you start climbing up any sort of ladder, your economic stature changes. And while you want to hold on to the value of some individuals, sometimes the weight of holding on to those individuals and keeping them in your life isn't worth it. So when you realize that not everyone is worth the weight carrying, we'll stop weighing our pockets down with unnecessary weight, or our hands down with unnecessary weight. As you grow, you'll notice this with friends. They are almost all going to disappear over time. It's just human nature. Not everyone is worth the weight to carry them around. So just know that, right? There's value in people, obviously. There's value in having family even. There's value in having friends. But sometimes the weight of carrying them around isn't worth it. So, good lesson to learn. It's something that I learned actually early this year for another conversation. Either way, again, I want to come up with a perfect sign off, but probably the only one that I'm going to say right now is I love you. Bye.